Follow the last clue down where the light never reached. Every stray detail, every voice nobody believed. We keep the tide rolling for the ones they walk past. Follow the last clue till the truth looks right.
The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information about a case or cases, please email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. Listener discretion is advised. Some content may be upsetting to listeners.
Right now, we're updating 7 cases, each one different, each one disturbing, and each one still demanding answers. We've got a California cold case that finally sees an arrest after 44 years. A 22-year-old hit and run that now points to a police officer and a possible cover-up. A missing toddler whose disappearance has led investigators to a landfill. A random stabbing inside a Goodwill store.
Oh my.
I need that shirt. A child murdered by a delivery driver who now claims he made, quote, a deal with the devil.
He is the devil.
A wrongful death lawsuit raising questions about police conduct, and a controversial Oklahoma case where a judge ruled victims' rights were not violated despite public outrage. 7 stories, 7 timelines, 7 families still searching for truth. Let's get into it.
Before we get into it, we do want to welcome our new listeners and subscribers from Arapahoe, Oklahoma, Candor, New York, Kitchener, Ontario, and Tokyo.
Tune in Tokyo.
Go, go, Godzilla.
Whoever's listening in Tokyo or listeners, tell your friends.
Domo arigato. Wherever you're listening from tonight, thank you for being part of this community. You can follow The Last Clue wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and many more. You can also follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and for exclusive content, subscribe on Buzzsprout.
Let's start with the murder of Cindy Wanner. This is a case out of Redding, California. She was a young mother who vanished from her California home and was found dead just weeks later. But now investigators say a cold case has finally been cracked thanks to advances in DNA technology and also facial recognition.
Oh.
Cindy was kidnapped in 1991, murdered the same year, and this had gone unsolved for well over 35 years.
Wow. Some of these cold cases are just fascinating. I mean, it's just so disheartening with as long as they take to solve. And then you see things like this that come up, and with the advances in technology, it's amazing. It's amazing what happens when you dig back into these cases with advancements in technology.
Last month, James Lawhead Jr., who is now 76 years old, was arrested. He was the former neighbor of Cindy and had long been considered a possible subject, but without modern forensic tools, the case stalled. Now, this case was cold until around 2023. And then let's just say the evidence was re-examined, which it should have been well before, but because of the new advancements, they took a look at the old evidence, and again, just last month, Lawhead was arrested. Investigators say new DNA technology and a reevaluation of witness statements helped connect Lawhead to this crime.
That just goes to show that if you see something, say something. At some point, somebody's memory is going to be jogged. Somebody's going to say something that makes a difference.
Well, the difference is he's now facing murder charges more than 4 decades after Cindy's death. Now, the questions that we have for our listeners is, why did this take so long? Why did it take 44 years to retest this evidence?
Yeah.
How many other cold cases could be solved if resources were prioritized?
Oh, I could go into a whole podcast on that.
And what does justice look like when the suspect has lived an entire life while the victim never got a chance?
That's going to be a hot button, I think.
So to our listeners, what do you think about this cold case that is now potentially on the verge of being completely solved? Is it justice delayed? And if it is justice delayed, is justice still served?
Yeah, is it justice delayed? Is it justice denied? Tell us. Let us know. Next is the hit and run of Josh Davis, a cop, a cover-up, and 22 years of silence. Back in the early 2000s, Josh Davis was struck and killed in a hit and run in North Carolina. The case went cold almost immediately.
Which just floors me, that a hit and run and all of a sudden the case just...
Yeah, this it's kind of odd, but a lot of them are. There were no arrests, no suspects, no closure.
And now, over 2 decades later, it seems like everything has changed.
Yeah, it has, because I believe he was with a friend at the time and the friend had turned around and left, so cold, no witnesses. But according to MSN and the Daily Mail, a police officer identified as Megan Potter has been named as a person of interest in Josh's death. Potter was reportedly driving a vehicle matching the description of the one that hit Josh. And witnesses from the time have come forward saying they always suspected law enforcement involvement.
And now this goes back a little bit to where you said, see something, say something.
Yes.
You've got witnesses in the story that they always suspected law enforcement. Did they actually say anything? Did they go to law enforcement, or were they terrified to
repercussions
to go and report it, even though they had a strong suspicion that it was this cop all along?
That's a great question.
And you've got cops investigating this. Did nobody on that force decided to go, hey, don't you drive
hey,
this type of vehicle?
Megan.
Did you just have your windshield replaced? I mean, and I'm not making light of it. It's
these are valid questions.
This is honestly, if this case comes to fruition the way it's being presented to us now, then the whole police force at the time was culpable for this.
If they knew, absolutely. And that poses a great question. If there's a crime committed and you know, I'm not saying think, if you know law enforcement was involved, do you come forward? Or are you afraid?
I think you have to. I think, for me, I think you bring it to that law enforcement one time. You take it to that law enforcement agency one time. If nothing happens, or if you're placated or whatever, then you go to the next agency that would potentially be over them. For example, here in Oklahoma, if we had a problem, we would go to the local police department. If we felt like it wasn't being dealt with in a timely or what we would feel like a sufficient manner, then we could go to the sheriff's department, or we could go to the OSBI, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, and file a complaint.
Listeners, tell us what you think. But here, according to the Daily Mail, the reports are that Potter allegedly admitted she, quote unquote, may have hit something that night, but claims she didn't know what it was. The vehicle she drove was reportedly repaired shortly after the incident.
So I have to ask, the repair shop, you have a hit and run in your town, and this is North Carolina. You've got a hit and run in your town, and this car gets repaired. At some point, does the repairman not go, wow, this looks odd?
Ironic.
Did the repairman come forward?
Maybe they were the ones that came forward at the time, but there's still details coming out. But here in the timeline, I mean, you got Josh is killed. The case remains unsolved for years, decades. And then new witnesses come forward. And now Officer Potter is named as a person of interest.
And I think the question from our listeners, and I'm not going to try to put questions in the listeners' mouths, but I guess my question would be, why did the witnesses take so long to come forward? But you have to look at this from potentially a small law enforcement group.
Sure.
They may have waited until all of the parties that were involved in that at the time were off the police force. I mean, if you've got a young police officer at 20 some odd years, the last officer that was involved in this may have just retired. And then they felt comfortable going forward to new administration. You've got new people coming in. You've got new eyes. You've got hopefully a renewed sense of safety and security with that
And a
police
fresh
force.
take.
Absolutely.
So maybe they were investigating, or the investigators were protecting one of their own. I mean, things are possible, but this development has shaken the community because when the person who may have caused the death is someone sworn to protect the public, it fractures that trust.
It does, and we've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, and questions for the listeners: did the department knowingly bury evidence? And if the person responsible wore a badge, who holds them accountable?
The justice system holds them accountable.
Allegedly.
It should be that way.
It should be that way.
But just wait, because we've got stories that are going to make you think twice. They're going to make you think a lot.
Yes. So, listeners, what do you think? Should cold cases involving law enforcement be handled by outside agencies?
Yes. I think that 100%. I think once a law enforcement agency even suspects that one of their own could potentially be involved in a crime, I think it needs to be turned over to the proper authority, the proper agency above them, the proper investigating agency.
To take away that conflict of interest?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're part of a team.
Yes.
And there are some people out there when they go to work, they say they're part of a family.
Yes.
And when one of your own is in trouble, you have a tendency as a human being to want to protect. Mm-hmm. And that's the fine line that law enforcement lives on, shouldn't live on, but they do. You're hired, you're brought on to protect and serve, but protecting one of your own is not protecting and serving the general public. You've let this go on for decades. When a young man lost his life and you protected one of your own, allegedly.
That's fair.
And now a heartbreaking story, the continued search for Genesis Reid. 2-year-old Genesis Reid from Alabama was reported missing around Christmas time. Her disappearance quickly escalated into a large-scale investigation when police announced they would be searching a landfill for her remains.
Oh, that is heartbreaking.
According to reports, investigators believe Genesis may have been placed in a dumpster that was later transported to a landfill. This is obviously one of the most difficult and, like you said, heartbreaking types of searches law enforcement can undertake. Further reports have the police preparing an extensive, weeks-long search involving heavy machinery, forensic experts, and specialized teams trained for landfill recovery.
I cannot imagine what all of that entails.
And with a landfill, you've got so much area that you have to try to, the best you can, whittle it down to an area where you think this child might be. And then you have to look through that entire area.
And it's a 2-year-old child. That's a small being in that large of a surface area. I'm getting nauseous just thinking about this.
I mean, and not to, I don't want to take anything away from the story because the story is terrible. It's again, gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, whatever words you want to throw in here.
Oh my God.
But have you ever thrown a receipt in your trash can right after you took out the trash, and then a day later, we don't accumulate much trash. It's just the two of us, but a few days later you go, oh, yes.
I need to return that.
I need that receipt. I have to have it. I've got Kohl's won't take it otherwise, whatever the case may be. And you have to go find that receipt. We're talking about a trash receptacle that may hold 10 pounds. Maybe. I mean, if you stuff it with all kinds of stuff, just going through that is a task within itself. You're talking about square feet, hundreds of thousands of square feet of area.
Let's be clear. Sorry, let's be clear. We are not comparing a child to a receipt. We are trying to paint the picture of the momentous, mountainous task that is before these people.
I mean, again, this is going to be a weeks-long search, if not months.
Yes. Oh, this is just heartbreaking. When Genesis, she went missing around Christmas and
Around Christmas.
2024-ish.
Yep. And then the evidence, of course, suggested that she may be deceased, and police began the landfill search preparations, and then the search will begin.
It's a massive undertaking.
And there's another part of this story, unfortunately. I hate to harp on this, but Adrienne Reid, Genesis' mother, was arrested in March, and she's facing a capital murder charge and abuse of a corpse in connection with her daughter's death.
Good. Sorry, that's the mom in me. That's the mom in me saying, good.
I mean, this is really tough to say, but authorities obtained surveillance video that shows Adrienne Reid tossing a duffel bag that they believe contained Genesis' body into a dumpster just before midnight on Christmas Day.
Oh, that's a disturbing piece of gum on the bottom of my shoe.
And 2 days later, the camera also captured Reid going back to the same dumpster carrying toys and other items that police think belong to the child.
Why?
Guilt.
Why?
She wanted to get rid of anything that reminded her of her child because of what she did.
I know, but
Allegedly.
why are you doing that? I will never understand why people do this to a child when there's so many people out there that want children and can't have them.
And now
I'm getting angry.
You've got law enforcement authorities, all of these officials that are basically looking at a 200 feet by 100 feet patch of area in a landfill that could be 8 to 10 feet deep.
God.
In trash, in refuse.
Oh, this is
all when somebody could have done the right thing and just said, I need help. I've done something. Make a call. I'm not okay. Something's going on. There's a million different things you could have done.
A million. First one could have been call somebody and say, hey, can you come take Genesis? I need help. God.
The video's very strong evidence that is specifically pointing to this location. I've got to give law enforcement credit. I don't know how in the world they would have figured that out.
Yeah.
But the questions in this particular story are very heavy. How does a toddler end up in a landfill?
A piece of bad word, mother.
What happened in those hours before she disappeared? And will investigators find what they're looking for? Or will this become another case where answers remain buried? Listeners, what do you think? Should landfill searches be mandatory when evidence suggests that a child may be there?
Next up, we have...
I don't even know how you're going to do this after that.
Very carefully, very carefully.
This is pretty easily the wildest story of this past week or so.
The Goodwill stabbing.
Oh my God.
The case of Madison Hinchey.
The Goodwill stabbing, let's be clear, that's Goodwill where you go to buy secondhand items. It wasn't a Goodwill stabbing.
A stabbing out of Goodwill.
Yeah. Hey, boop. Yeah, you're my friend. Take this.
Sucker. In Kentucky, a woman named Madison Hinchey has been charged with attempted murder after allegedly stabbing another shopper inside a Goodwill store.
I've seen people in a Goodwill store that thought they were going to stab me.
This is why I walk away from you, because I don't want to be the person looking at you like that.
You reach for a shirt or something like that, it's terrifying when you get in that same aisle.
Especially on those, pink tag sale days.
You got to be careful with those.
You do.
The red tag sale with this one.
Ooh. Well, according to local reports, the attack was unprovoked.
Unprovoked. A stabbing in Goodwill. unprovoked.
Yeah. Well, surveillance footage showed Hinchey reportedly approaching the victim and stabbing her in the neck.
Didn't even try the arm or the leg. She just went straight.
How about excuse me? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Excuse me, just right to the neck. The victim survived, but the randomness of the attack has left the community speechless and shaken.
This was April.
It was in April. The attack occurred inside the Goodwill, and then immediately after, Hinchey is arrested, and charges have been filed, but the investigation is ongoing. Now, random acts of violence like this are terrifying because they shatter the illusion of safety in everyday places like your thrift stores, your grocery stores, parking lots.
You can't go to Goodwill.
I like Goodwill, and I'm going to be slightly terrified to go in the future. I like Goodwill, but I don't want to be reaching for something and you shank me.
Oh, by the way, Hinchey, let's be clear, she also hit an employee with a shovel.
I remember that. I thought there was another part to that, but I thought I might be confusing another case. But...
No, the employee was trying to assist with the stabbing, and she whacked him with a shovel.
So this also is going to beg the question, are Goodwills going to stop taking tools?
There's a bunch of tools in Goodwill that can be taken two ways.
It can be.
Did you also hear that Hinchey told officers that the victim, quote, got what she came for, according to the police?
Wait, what?
Got what she came for. So
the victim got what she came for. So we're victim blaming, first of all.
This, I mean, with the quote given, unless the quote was, misquoted, it sounds like that she came into the store to get something. It's kind of what we made light of earlier. Let's just take a shirt, for example. It sounds like the victim took a shirt off the rack to buy it, and this lady came into the store and saw the other person with that shirt in hand and said, "Oh no, that's mine." The victim got what she came for. Again, if that's the quote that police have out there, that makes me believe that this potentially was about a singular item in that Goodwill store. Because there's no other, I mean, if you say she got what came to her, then there's all different types of way that this could be a love triangle. This could be, this could be a high school feud that has just boiled up. This could be a lot of other things, but the quote got what she came for. The victim got what she came for.
I don't even know where to go with this one.
That tells me that potentially this was over a singular item in that Goodwill store.
Well, I'm changing her name from Hinchey to Henchman. I don't know what's going on here, but I am not going to Goodwill in Kentucky. So here's some questions on this one. Was this a mental illness, Blake?
Yes. If you're going to walk into a store and stab somebody in the neck, that is a mental illness, whether small, large, or somewhere in between. There is a mental health problem involved in this.
Okay. Well, so was it targeted but misrepresented? Or was it truly random?
It's going to depend, honestly, what she ends up telling law enforcement. I mean,
need more information.
She's going to have to tell the story at some point.
I need more information. Kentucky listeners, if you have any further information on this, please reach out to us, info@smithmediateamllc.com, or you can message us on Facebook. I would really like to know what you have heard about this. I would really like to know.
Late night, headphones on, door locked, static fade.
And now the case that we've talked about on previous podcasts here on The Last Clue, Athena Strand and the Devil's Deal claim. So we've heard ad nauseum, if you turn on a TV, you're going to hear the story of Athena Strand. It's not something we've covered it in a podcast, but we haven't dove into it because it's more of a national story.
Right.
But this is a 7-year-old girl that was kidnapped and murdered by a FedEx contract driver named Tanner Horner. This has been all over court TV, been all over the news. It's been everywhere.
Tanner Horror.
He later pleaded guilty, and now, according to the New York Post, Horner is claiming that he made, quote, a deal with the devil, end quote, before killing Athena. Obviously, this claim has outraged a lot of the public and unfortunately devastated her family all over again. They're having to live this nightmare every single day as long as this is in court.
Her mom, Maitland, man, that is one strong woman. She's, bad word incoming, but in a good way. She is a badass.
Yeah. My hat's off to you. I don't know if I could live through something like that.
Mama Gandhi, props to you.
So this was December a few years back when Athena disappeared, and then her body was found 2 days later, and then the investigation started, and then we went into pre-trial proceedings. Tanner Horner was arrested. There's a lot of evidence. You don't have to look very far.
No.
There's a still photo that is very triggering.
Very.
Of Tanner Horner driving the FedEx truck with little 7-year-old Athena Strand in the back. And now we have this
mofo.
I don't even know how to begin with this guy.
He doesn't know what the truth is.
So in court, he's claimed that he made a deal with the devil when he murdered Athena Strand. And this was told to the jury in court. He is a confessed child murderer. And now, this is a guy, we've gone over this in our previous podcast, but this is a guy who hasn't told the same story twice.
Nope.
He still does not know the story that he is currently telling.
He does not. I sometimes wonder if his ass believes the shit coming out of his mouth.
He has compared his crimes to a 2017 movie called American Satan, in which a rock band commits human sacrifices as part of a pact with a demonic entity to achieve fame and success. And this is all according to forensic psychiatrist Dr. Eileen Ryan.
Well, I love rock music. I love hard rock music. I love heavy metal. I love what some people call screamo. Not one time have I committed murder.
That's a fact.
By listening to music or watching movies.
She said, among other things, quote, in his mind, he believed that by taking Athena's life, he was saving his own life and career.
That so coveted career as a FedEx truck driver. Now, I'm not knocking the FedEx truck drivers at all. I love them. They bring us packages and they follow instructions. They're on time. Great. But saving your life and career.
She also added, quote, he felt that if he didn't do this, his world would end, his job would be gone, and he would be ruined, end quote.
Newsflash, you're ruined.
I hate to say this. I hate to say this about another human being, but I hope he's put in general population. That's where he belongs. He belongs in general population. There are plenty of people that would love to have a discussion with him about what he did. Now, he won't be.
No.
He's too high profile of a name now. I guess in a way, if he wants to consider this a win, he's achieved fame and fortune. It's more infamy.
Yes. Oh, some of the comments on Facebook on our article about this, some of them were beautiful. We had a commenter that said, we do things big in Texas. Just leave them here. Something to that effect. Somebody called for castration on the courthouse front steps.
And that's honestly, that's going to be the most dangerous spot. They are going to have to keep him under shield at the Tarrant County Courthouse because
he'll be fine.
Yeah. If he sees sunshine,
that was sarcasm.
If he sees sunshine from the courtroom to the vehicle that he's going to be transported in,
it's going to be the light
or from the
flames
vehicle,
of hell.
I mean, this could literally be over at any second.
Yep, I agree.
Not for Athena Strand's family.
No,
but for him,
be over for her family.
He has. I'm going to say allegedly. I'm sorry. I'm going to say allegedly. He's been diagnosed with Asperger's, ADHD, and bipolar. But even then, authorities have said that that was not the cause of these heinous crimes. They are saying that this was a rigid black and white thinking where only two options were Athena's death or his life being ruined.
Well,
And
he achieved both.
Yeah, he absolutely did.
Dumb fudge nugget.
So I'm going to say this supernatural influence that we're calling it. This is a classic tactic used by offenders seeking to deflect responsibility, which is what he's done this entire time. He started out, and let's just say started. I'm sure there are things that are going to come out in his past, and some already have. To me, nothing definitive that would show that he would do something to this magnitude, but this stuff is all going to start coming out over time. But he has deflected responsibility from the moment he chose to murder Athena Strand. He has deflected responsibility time and time and time and time again. But it also raises questions about mental health evaluations, about manipulation, and about the ethics of allowing offenders to make public statements that re-traumatize families. In my opinion, he should shut the F up. He shouldn't be allowed. He lost the right to talk. When he decided to take the life of a 7-year-old girl, he lost his right to speak. They should sew his mouth shut, in my opinion.
I like opinions, and I'd love to hear everybody else's.
Oh, we're going to get them.
I am listening and reading.
So, listeners, why is Tanner Horner being allowed to speak publicly? Should offenders lose the right to make sensational claims after conviction? After conviction. And I don't really feel like there's an answer to this, but I would love to hear some commentary. How do families heal when the person responsible keeps reopening the wound?
That's a tough one.
There's a judge in Tarrant County that could close that down right now. He could literally say, I don't want to hear another word out of that guy. It's my courtroom. I don't want to hear him speak again, ever. In the history of ever, should convicted killers be barred from making public statements? And I say convicted killers. Should convicted killers be barred from making public statements? And I want to tag something else on this too. This is something that I personally feel I very much have an opinion on this. And this may be part of Clueless.
Okay.
Should convicted killers be allowed to profit from their statements? Should they be able to write books? Should they be able to sell art? Should they be able to do any of these things that would generate any type of income? Now, I would hope that that income does not go to them in any way, shape, or form. It shouldn't even go to commissary.
It's like a restitution kind of thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you need a cigarette in prison, they'll show you what to do.
They will.
That money they should never, a convicted murderer, a convicted killer, should never see a dime of that money. Not a dime. Not their families, not their kids, not their grandkids, not their pets, nothing. They shouldn't see a dime of that. If they end up behind on their mortgage and lose their house, you made that choice.
That's fair.
What do you think, listeners? Should convicted killers be barred from making public statements? And should they be able to profit in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a book deal, a TV deal, a movie deal, again, selling art, selling personalized letters, anything? Should they be able to profit?
Now, back in Oklahoma, the family of Joseph Powell has filed a wrongful death lawsuit after he died during an encounter with law enforcement and other entities.
And you can follow up on that entire case.
Yes.
We devoted our entire season 2 to the Joe Powell case, and we had an update as well. So if you want to go back and listen to the catalog, you can update yourself on the entire case.
Yes. According to sources, the lawsuit alleges excessive force and negligence. There are several entities involved in this case. One of the gentlemen involved in the case in the lawsuit, Landon Seacrest, was dismissed from the civil lawsuit without prejudice. So he can be recalled to this case at the time, which just leads me to believe that there's bigger fish to fry with going towards the city of Norman. Under Oklahoma law, a dismissal without prejudice allows plaintiffs to refile claims within the statute of limitations. It does not clear Landon. It simply removes him from the case temporarily.
And just to update you on this, give you a very brief rundown. Joe Powell was a student on campus. He had left a couple of establishments down in an area called Campus Corner. He walked back. There, depends on whose story you listen to, but he allegedly walked up, tried to open a door or had asked for a ride. Again, depending on who you believe. 3 men got out.
One of them being Landon. Two of them actually being Landon. We've got 2 Landons in the case.
Yeah. There was an altercation, and there was one punch thrown that hit Joe, and he landed on the concrete, and several days later he was deceased.
He was. And we even showed the body cam footage from the interactions with the suspects and from law enforcement. So you will see why the city of Norman is involved in this because of officer negligence.
And you can make your own.
Absolutely. Make your own assertions and let us know.
Yeah, because you can see everything. It's from City of Norman body cam.
Absolutely. So this case is moving forward and still under the lawsuit phase. But this case still raises questions about police accountability, transparency, and the difficulty families face when seeking justice through the civil courts.
And just of note, during our coverage of this case, we were told by the city of Norman that none of the officers faced any disciplinary charges.
They did not. We even questioned higher up to find out any further information that may come of this or what may happen, and crickets.
And that's all with the court now.
It is all with the court now. So some of the questions that came up were, why was Sechrest dismissed? And I believe it's just he's one of the 3 parties that was involved in the altercation. And honestly, just bigger fish to fry right now. But will he be added back later?
Honestly, I think that depends on whether he had any kind of evidence on his phone, which we were told that the city of Norman, I don't think they used the word confiscated, but we were told that the phones were looked at.
They were looked at. But how do families fight a system designed to protect law enforcement? That's a tough question here. But we will be following up on this one and let you know of any further developments. And as you remember, we broke the news of the lawsuit here on The Last Clue. So, listeners, what do you think? Should civil lawsuits involving police be handled by independent investigators? And I think we addressed this earlier, and I'm pretty certain you still feel the same way here.
My question is, was OSBI ever involved? Because we asked that question to the OSBI. How does a case get submitted to the OSBI? And it has to be submitted by that law enforcement agency. It was kind of a confusing answer, but what we gathered was it has to be submitted by that law enforcement agency. Did anyone at that police department have the courage to say, this doesn't seem right, and reach out to OSBI? I would like to see those communications myself.
Absolutely.
That's what I would have asked for.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of our communications, but be that as it may.
Hey, we're open books here.
Man, transparency. You've got everything we've got.
Yep. And
well, except for a case file. We only got 3 pages of that.
Yeah, the Norman Police Department was so forthcoming. City of Norman. Gotta love it.
Then a quiet clock, name on a page, filed and forgot, someone's whole life, trapped in a footnote.
And now another case out of Oklahoma. This time, a much more familiar name. We go to Jesse Mack Butler, whose case has been, for lack of a better term, a lightning rod for controversy, especially in the Sooner State. Butler was accused of serious crimes, and many believe that the victim's rights were violated during the legal process.
Serious crimes.
He was tagged for a lot.
Yes, rape with instrumentation, There's a laundry list of charges against him. Laundry list. Keep in mind, Jesse Mack Butler, 17 at the time. So,
And also keep in mind, in July of 2025, he had been offered a plea agreement changing his status to that of a youthful offender, which people erupted over.
because he was convicted and was going to be sentenced for 73 years.
Mm-hmm.
But
Long time.
but not anymore.
So we have Jesse Mack Butler, again, facing a myriad of charges. And according to reports, a Payne County, Oklahoma judge has ruled that the victim's rights were not violated. Now, let's look into, just for a second, for full transparency, one of his victims, I believe, just received a pretty big honor from her high school.
She did, and we're going to say her name. We're only going to say her first name.
Sure.
But Landry is valedictorian
Of her high school.
of her high school.
So let's take a look at this. We've got Jesse Mack Butler, who has continuously wiggled his way in and out of the judicial system, which has caused outrage that seems to be falling on deaf ears in Payne County, Oklahoma. And one of the people accusing him is the valedictorian of her high school. You would think that her word would carry some merit, because you don't get to be valedictorian by doing shady stuff.
Yeah, I would also think the scars on her neck from where he choked her within literally an inch of her life would also hold some weight, considering she had to have surgery to repair said neck.
And here we are. We're still arguing about this because I'm just going to say it. There's corruption in Payne County.
Oh, there's corruption in Payne County.
If you want to go down a rabbit hole, read reputable sources. And again, this is something we covered in a prior podcast. There was a lot of information coming out about Jesse Mack Butler from these, let's just call them TikTok investigations.
Yeah.
Wannabe true crime fighters that were showing pictures and videos that were clearly not Jesse Mack Butler, but they were purporting that that was him committing these acts. They were absolutely not him. 100%. One of them was from a film, and we go into detail about that in a prior podcast.
One of them was also a convicted rapist or murderer out of California.
Correct.
Several years ago. That was at least 10 to 15 years older.
Right.
So, completely different case.
Shock journalism at its finest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we have a ruling from this court. At this point, just like what we talked about last time, someone with a higher authority has to step in here and go, okay, we need to take a look at this.
We need to take this out of Payne County.
Payne County certainly has fumbled the ball multiple times.
Pardon the pun.
Worse than Leon Lett with the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Ooh. And here's another victim that's left holding a bag of emotion, a bag of fear.
Full-on trauma.
Exactly. And this case highlights the tension between prosecutorial discretion and victims' rights. It also raises questions about transparency, communication, and the power imbalance between victims and the legal system. So for our listeners, especially those who have really been listening and reading about the Jesse Mack Butler case, how do we define victims' rights in a system where prosecutors hold all the power?
You can't tell me these victims' rights were not violated. You can't. You can't. And if you can, you need to explain it to me like I'm 5.
Should victims have more influence over plea deals? Mm-hmm. And what happens when the public disagrees with the court? Now, I will tell you that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It causes mayhem.
It's not professional wrestling where the crowd tells you what to do. But you would think also, if you hear enough voices going, hey, that's wrong, hey, that's wrong, hey, that's wrong, at some point, you have to go, maybe I need to take a step back and look at what I'm saying and what I'm doing that's affecting people's lives. We had a conversation earlier, and this very loosely kind of goes back to that, but that saying of,
if you meet more than 2 assholes a day, you might be the asshole. So if you talk to more than 3 people a day that tell you you're wrong, you might be wrong.
Who's the common denominator in this? It's certainly, from what we've seen, it's certainly not the victims.
It is not the victims.
So what's the common denominator in this? Is it Jesse Mack Butler, or is it the system that is allowing Jesse Mack Butler to get away with this time and time and time again? Are they both at fault? He's clearly at fault for what he did.
It's the system, and it's the good old boy system. Now, that's another rabbit hole because there's a lot of changes and corruption, like you said, in Payne County. And we're not just giving lip service. You can take that to the bank. And now, Clueless, our opinion segment.
Cold cases don't solve themselves. They sit until someone decides that they matter again. And that's the problem. Justice shouldn't depend on timing or technology. It should depend on urgency. When a cop becomes a person of interest in a hit and run, trust fractures. Because if the people enforcing the law can break it without consequence, the system collapses from the inside. A toddler in a landfill? That's not just tragedy, that's failure. Failure to protect, failure to intervene, failure to see danger before it became irreversible. A random stabbing in a Goodwill, that's the world reminding us that safety is an illusion we cling to because the alternative is too terrifying to accept. Athena Strand's killer claiming a deal with the devil. No, he made a deal with himself. He made a deal to choose violence, to choose cowardice, and to choose evil. Blaming the supernatural is just another way that he's avoiding the mirror he's looking at. A wrongful death lawsuit dismissed without prejudice? No, but one of the people involved is being dismissed. That doesn't mean that he's innocent. That doesn't mean that he won't be back. That's the legal system at this point saying, we'll think about the accountability of that person later. And hopefully later comes sooner than it has in other cases. In the Jesse Mack Butler ruling, it tells victims exactly where they stand, behind the prosecutor, behind the defendant, behind a system that was never built for them in the first place. These cases all share one truth. Justice isn't broken. It's working exactly as it's been designed. And that's why it keeps failing the people who need it the most. Listeners, push back on these cases. Ask questions. Demand answers, because silence is the system's favorite accomplice.
The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information regarding a case or cases, please email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com. You can follow The Last Clue wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, iHeart, and many more. And for exclusive content, subscribe on Buzzsprout for just $5 a month, or find us on Buy Me a Coffee. And as always, keep searching for The Last Clue.
Follow the